Okay, so the main thing I like about Sonic OVA is the world, okay? The world that it builds, because we got the land of the sky and we got the land of the darkness. And I don't know all about it, but basically, there's a land of the sky with a lot of different floating islands, which I don't know, but I keep coming back to it as a Sonic fan because it explains things like Little Planet and Angel Island, and it's not like Angel Island can't still be special, right? And I do like how it is the only thing that's flying now. However, I like the idea of the land of the sky because it explains weird kind of story elements that Sonic Team clearly are very passionate about being included in the Sonic universe. Like, for example, Flickies, right? Flickies, I think, are a different kind of creature, right? Like, I was watching Sonic X and I'm like, they're animals as well, but they're like always small. And then there's like the larger humanoid versions of the Sonic characters. And like, the only way I can make that make sense along with humans existing in this world as well is multiple islands, because again, we've got this insane contrast in the Sonic series, and it seems all about kind of putting Sonic in this place he doesn't normally belong, but still he shines through, right? His character is strong and unshakable, and so he affects the world around him. And that island to island kind of concept really fits with what kind of this type of stories Sonic Team seems to want to tell. And it worked really well in this movie as well, or the OVA, I should say. Yeah, and it also explains like the lost hex, right? Like just floating stuff showing up. Like it seems like that's the stuff they want to tell. Now, I've talked way too long about the world, but that's how you can tell I really like it. But I have to talk about the acting, right? You guys know I'm an actor, so I'm going to talk about the acting, and also everybody talks about the acting in this movie. So I want to say that I mainly think that the theory of the classic cast being children comes from this movie. And I wouldn't be surprised if the voice director directing this was looking at them as children, because it seems like that was the direction. And it's fun watching it in that way. But I don't think that was Sonic Team's intention. There's my cats are fighting in the background. I don't think it was Sonic Team's intention, but it's fun to see them be like zany and wacky, and it's a fun movie. It wouldn't be the way I would cast them, but you know, it's fun for the movie that they're in, and that's basically it on the acting piece. Also, interesting to note, Sonic and Knuckles have the same range issue, right? If it's that they're just young, it's okay for me, but obviously that's not exactly the intention, right? That's a localization thing. So, in my opinion, Sonic and Knuckles still have that same issue that I talked about in the voice acting episode on Frontiers, where they're just oddly in the same pitch, where I normally like them to contrast each other a little bit more, in the same way that there's red, blue, and yellow or orange for, you know, Team Sonic, right? The voice contrasts the same way. We got to talk about Metal Sonic, right? So the main piece of story in this movie that makes it really interesting is that it explains Sonic and Metal Sonic's connection, right? It's touched on a little bit in Heroes, right? Where he wants to be the real Sonic, which is what also makes this super interesting. Straighten out. Whatever. So it's this weird thing where like Eggman literally copied Sonic's whole mind, right? So it's literally Metal Sonic is Sonic and his mind. And so it creates this interesting relatability between the two of them. And yeah, it's got that crazy out of context scene where it's like, you might know everything I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you. That whole crazy scene. And yeah, say what you will about that scene, but the things that go on kind of before and after are really interesting, right? Sonic gets the upper hand in that battle because he realizes, oh wait, I can estimate what he's doing too. Which is kind of funny that it took him that long. But hey, you know, I'm viewing it like Sonic's a kid, so it works for me. But that dynamic, right, where Sonic is actually upset when Metal Sonic is defeated, and Metal Sonic, like, seconds before being destroyed, he saves the president, right? So he has this, like, weird turnaround, and we never see Metal Sonic ever do anything like that again. So in my mind, as a fan, again, we don't have confirmation of this, but in my mind, this feels like the first time Metal Sonic was made, and their first interaction, Sonic and Metal Sonic. And Metal Sonic used to have that hero element, and then Eggman had to get rid of it from him. So it makes this movie always, like, have a special place in my heart, because it feels like the origins of Metal Sonic. And I always have this, like, thing in the back of my head that Metal Sonic still has a little bit of that in the background, which adds a really interesting drama for the character of Metal Sonic. Honestly, a lot of Metal Sonic's popularity comes from this and Sonic CD. And the last thing, the music. We're hearing it right now. The music has that incredible New Jack Swing sound. I only recently learned the title for this music, but you should definitely look up this genre, because Sonic R, Sonic CD, this whole era has this awesome sound that I miss so much from the Sonic brand. I personally believe that it can fit the modern brand for variety, not take over everything, but I was really, really missing it in things like Superstars. I feel like there's a big place for New Jack Swing. It seems to be really popular. And that's all I have to say about Sonic OVA. Peace.